Sometimes people choose others not because you lack something, but because they are not ready to handle the depth of your love. The heart often runs toward comfort when it fears the challenge of true connection. They didn't choose someone else because you weren't good enough. They chose someone else because they didn't feel strong enough. When someone chooses another, it's a reflection of their journey, not a measure of your worth. People often choose the easy path, even when the harder road holds the most meaningful rewards. They may seek someone who mirrors their fears, rather than someone who challenges them to grow. It's not about what you gave, it's about what they were ready to receive. Choosing someone else doesn't erase the value of the memories and lessons shared with you. They might have left because they saw in you what they were too afraid to become. Sometimes people need to lose something extraordinary to understand what they truly needed all along. It's easier to choose someone who doesn't see your flaws than to face someone who loves you despite them. When people feel unworthy, they often run toward relationships that don't require them to face their insecurities. And you are not the rejection they made. You are the courage that stays to rebuild. People often pick reflections of their own self-doubt, mistaking it for compatibility. If they chose someone else, it's because they were not ready for the version of themselves you inspired. Sometimes people leave not because they don't love you, but because they don't know how to love themselves. When someone lets go of a diamond, it's because they're more comfortable holding a pebble. You can't hold yourself responsible for someone else's inability to see your value. Their choice was a chapter in your story, not the title of your book. If they walked away, they freed you to find someone who would walk toward you. True love isn't about being chosen. It's about being cherished for who you are. Sometimes they settle for less because the greatness of your love made them feel small. You are not what they left behind. You are what they were too scared to embrace. The people often pick the person who feels safe, not the one who makes them dream. If they moved on, it's because they were searching for something they hadn't found within themselves. Choosing someone else says more about their heart than it ever will about yours. They picked someone else because they couldn't face the reflection they saw in your eyes. Sometimes, their choice isn't a rejection of you, but a reflection of their fears. You are not the loss they chose to endure. You are the light they were too blind to see. If they left, they freed space for someone who will choose you every single time. Your love wasn't too much. It was simply more than they were prepared to receive. And they sought someone who required less because they weren't ready to give more. You were the lesson they didn't realize they needed to learn. Sometimes the strongest hearts are left behind so they can find someone equally strong. They didn't leave because they didn't care. They left because they didn't know how to stay. Letting them go isn't losing them, it's finding yourself. Someone else may have been their choice, but that doesn't make them your destiny. If they couldn't recognize your value, it's because they didn't understand their own.